Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Force here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Divinity Original Sin. This is a top-down turn-based RPG from Larian Studios. The game is currently in alpha and available to all of its Kickstarter backers. Now if you didn't back it through Kickstarter, it will be eventually available to you, but what I wanted to do here in this video is sort of give you a brief introduction and also just show you some gameplay if you are interested in picking up this title eventually. So we're starting off here on the character creation screen. I'm showing you some gameplay just from the very start of the alpha. So in character creation, you know, it's alpha, placeholders abound, and not everything's working. In fact, you can see a couple of features here are even disabled for alpha, such as switching the sex of your characters. But yes, you eventually could play as two females or two males, whatever you felt like doing, essentially. So I'm going to be going with a pretty basic thing here. I think I'm just gonna do the lady as a wizard because I kind of like wizardry. You'll notice there's also a bunch of attributes that you can decide how you want to spend, so I could remove some points into intelligence and place them into speed if I so desired. I do not desire though, so we're gonna switch that back to how it was. And we can also choose some of her talents. So she's got wizard talents that you can change around. There are some set in place like unarmed under warrior, and then this one's set in place too. Oh no, that one's not actually, I could change that. But Lore Master tells me about the enemies that we're facing, so I will keep that. But yeah, you can adjust. So if I wanted to be less of a summoner and more of a battle magic character, that's something that I can do. In fact, that is a change that I will make. I don't care about summoning minions. I just want to blow people up. We've also got talents here, and these are things that you'll eventually be able to unlock. I don't know if you'll unlock all of them, but basically as you level up, you get a point and you can unlock additional ones. So for example, right now I've got Lightning Rod, which increases my ability to resist stun attacks, and then I've got the Silver Tongued, which increases my ability to resist being silenced. And eventually I could pick up things like Escapist, makes it easier for me to flee the battle. Gold Digger improves my innate ability to spot hidden treasures. All sorts of different things. Increased overall damage, improves your chances to hit an opponent with melee weapon in battle. Obviously I wouldn't necessarily want that with a wizard, but as you can see, quite the list here that you'll be able to. What's a Tempest? Improves your casting ability in air-based spells. That's cool. All right, so yes, different abilities here and talents that you can adjust. And again, as you level up, you'll be able to further specialize in things of that nature. We've got a couple of starting spells: Teleportation, Flare, Fireball, and Winter's Breath. It looks like this is default. It's nothing that I can switch at the moment. And you'll eventually be able to do things like change the color, primary color and secondary color, and then also the armor. These ones are locked in place. You notice it's not changing anything, but you can actually, I know it says disabled, but I can actually change this here. Now, essentially what it is there's three presets. There's wizard armor, warrior armor, and archer armor. So even if you wanted to play a wizard and be wearing archer armor or warrior armor, you could do that, but I like standard. I like the standardness, so we're gonna stay with standard. All right, so that's my first character, that's the wizard, and then we'll move on. I don't want two wizards, I want a wizard and a warrior. A couple of starting skills here. We've got this rush, a whirlwind, and then sort of area abilities in fear and inspire for enemies and allies. Now for him, obviously, most of his points are spent into warrior, and let's wave the warrior. Wave the warrior levels your warrior skills. Okay, well, I assume that I want that. Single-handed, there's two-handed. I would remove one and two-handed, but unfortunately it's not giving me the option because I do want to go one-handed and shield sort of thing. Determines how good you are at repairing items. I guess I'll leave that too. I mean, we'll just stick with the standard stuff that they have here, but again, I just wanted to show you a whole bunch of different things. It looks like the list of talents is the same. You can see like Silver Tongued is here, Lightning Rod is here, but as my warrior, he does not start with those. Default, I start with Braveheart. Ability to resist fear, Opportunist, improves the ability to perform attacks of opportunity, and then Sidewinder decreases the penalty of being flanked. So since he's a melee guy, he's going to be in melee range, all that stuff makes sense. And then he's got points into Constitution, Strength, and Perception. Affects the sight and hearing range, Treasure Hunter, and... I don't know that I really care too much about that. I'm going to remove that point, go down to a base of 5, and I'll go ahead and increase, let's increase his constitution. That's just health, right? Yeah, he's going to be a tanky guy. Okay, so basic stuff. Again, I can switch this, and eventually they're going to give you the option to switch these, but it says disabled, and it actually is disabled, unlike this one. Okay, so we're going to finish it up there. These are our characters. We have got a warrior and a wizard. So, starting it off, I'm playing as the warrior. I'm moving around with them. Looks like they're having a little conversation. We're trying to find a murderer. Is basically the premise of the game. In fact, I think I can just pop up the journal here. Take a look at that. Yeah, so this is what we're starting off with. We have been sent to Cecile to investigate the murder of Counselor Jake. The wizard Arhu will meet us in the harbor to elaborate. Okay, so that's basically, we're just dumped into this beach, and that's essentially what we're doing. One thing you should notice immediately is just a pretty good looking game, just visually. I just think I like the design. I like the artistic direction of this particular game. So I can switch between my two characters. Unfortunately, my warrior apparently starts off with less health than the other character. At any given time, I control one or the other. Now, when this game launches, there is co-op for it. So you're able to play, it's a drop-in, drop-out co-op. So if I'm playing a game as my warrior, a friend of mine could drop into the game and then control the wizard and just move around, and we could adventure together. That'd be all sorts of fun. So I can pick up things in the environment. We can grab that shell, and then we open up our inventory, and we're able to take a look. That's all the stuff in our inventory. There are separate inventories for both characters. So this is Scarlet's, and this is Roderick's. Also, I just really like this design. I think it looks clean. It's a little bit cluttered, so you know, and that's okay. But it's just worth mentioning. It does seem a little bit cluttered. It just feels like things are kind of squished in there. But it's very clean, and it's very easy to read. So I'm really liking the interface of this game. A few things, again, be it that it's an alpha, that aren't quite functional at the moment. For example, these are filters, I am assuming. It just makes sense that they would be filters, but they don't appear to be filtering anything. So it is what it is. Eventually, I'm assuming that this is going to work. Unless they may not. I mean, I'm assuming these are filters, but there's also no tab that says all. So I'm not sure. You would imagine there would be an all tab, and then you can filter through for individuals. So maybe it's just has a function that I don't understand. Who knows? Anyways, that's that bunch of information that we have about our character stats and all sorts of things, resistances, this appears to be, and then basic combat information. There's also tabs up here. You've got the equipment tab, abilities, which we'll get to adjust this stuff as we level up. Here are the talents that we took a look at earlier, that entire list. And then lastly, there's some traits. I don't see any of those at the moment. Not entirely sure what those are going to be for, but I'm sure I'll figure it out as I play. So I'm still fairly new to this game. Again, I just wanted to give you guys sort of a basic introduction. Some cool things that you can do. Lots of things in the environment. You saw that I picked up that shell. We can also interact with this pile of bones. Oh, there's nothing in there. Let's check this crate. Ah, there is some stuff. There's that cooking pot, so I can go ahead and grab all that stuff. It'll go into my inventory. But now that we're done with this crate, now that we've, you know, looted it, we could, if you wanted to, you can move it. You can pick it up and go like this, and as it bounce around, I could go, no, actually, I think I want you over here. You can also destroy it by holding down Alt. It allows you to attack things that you normally wouldn't be able to. I could even attack my friend if I wanted to, but we're just gonna attack the box. There's a kick, and there's another kick. And then the box is destroyed, so. So fairly interactive world, lots of different things that you can, well, interact with. All right, so we're just gonna keep walking along. And I want to show you a little bit of the combat. Let's go ahead and sheath that weapon there. Show you a little bit of combat, a little bit of discovery, and also sort of interaction with other characters in the environment. So here's some discovery. We found ourselves a Rain Scroll spell. That will come into use later in the video. There's also a Traveler's Journal. And now, first time I picked this up, I couldn't actually find a way to read the journal. Oh, there it is, okay. Rejoice, for the statues have gained my wish. What? I don't understand. Their whimsical nature, however, must not be taken lightly. So before I soar through the sky like an eagle, This is hilarious. Do you know why this is hilarious? This is a callback to Morrowind. At least I'm assuming this is. And you find the body after some guy who found a flight spell. That's really funny. I really like that. I really do quite enjoy that. That's quite enjoyable to me. All right, so I don't think we can go over here. It looks like this is blocked off, although the map appears that it will eventually be explorable. It seems as if that's the indication, so maybe it's just here in the alpha that is currently locked out. But we're gonna move along here because there is a little bit of combat that I can show you in this direction. There's also a couple of boxes for us to loot, so why don't we do that? Picked ourselves up a jar there. And we're gonna take a look at the inventory combination system in this game. There's basically lots of different combos that you can do in terms of things that you find, placing them together to make something new. And I really, really like that about this game. All right, so we have just been moving around freely, but now we have entered into combat. And as soon as you enter combat, it switches to the action point-based AP, turn-based tactical play. So here's how it works. We're in combat now. Up at the top, you're gonna see the turn. So we start off with Scarlet, my wizard, and then it'll be the turn for my warrior, Roderick. Now, these are the enemies that we're currently engaged with, and again, it just shows the order. So it'll be me, him, and then the crabs go. So how it works is it's all AP based. You'll notice these dots at the bottom. And when you move, so I can decide this is a path I want to move, the further distance that you go, the more AP points it uses. So all those green ones turning to red, that shows you how many points it would take for me to move in that direction. Also spells, we've got various spells. So I could try to cast my spell number 1. You can see it'll show how many points it'll use. I can cancel that though, try to cast my number 2. That's gonna use a certain number of points. Try to cast my number 4, this is the one I will cast, and that's gonna use, uses up more points. And you can also just mouse over, it shows the number of AP that each one of these things use. So, for example, this one costs 6 AP and I have 7. So what this means is that I can safely move 1 point and then still be able to cast my fireball. And that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna cast fireball, and so let me hit 4. And as I move the cursor closer to the enemies, the ones that are highlighted in bright red will show you the enemies that will be hit with this spell. So I'm gonna put it right in the middle of all these guys so that it hits all of them at once. And then the fireball's cast, and then there's an explosion. Now, one thing you will notice, oh, well, that was apparently, that single spell was enough to kill all of the crabs. Now, one thing you'll notice though is that being that the game is still in alpha, there's a lot missing. There's a lot of oh geez, I just walked through fire. Elements are legit here. If you walk over fire, you will start burning. If someone is on fire and you douse them in water, they will stop burning. If someone is wet and you hit them with electricity, well, they're in trouble. So that, yeah, the elements play a real role when it comes to the environment and combat in this game, and it's something that you're always going to need to be aware of. Unfortunately, I walked over fire. I was able to douse it by walking through some of that water there, but I ended up losing some hit points as a result. So yeah, since the game is still in alpha, there's a lot missing, and I almost didn't make this video because there's a lot of the combat sounds are missing. Some of the wizards are here. I think the flare one is here. Yeah, so you can hear that. I'm casting, it makes a sound, fantastic. But like fireball, I don't think it makes any, listen, you can't hear any charge up. Casting, nothing. Attack, nothing. So some of the spells, unfortunately, how about this one? Does this one have sound? No, it doesn't. So there's still a lot, you know, again, going through development, there's still a lot. Oh, watch this. Okay, so she put ice on the ground, ready? Oh, I fell on the ice. I mean, like I said, it's legitimate. You freeze water that turns into ice, and you can slip on the ice. There's a lot of elemental response or interaction in this game. I guess that's the terminology that I want to use, and I think that's really cool. Okay, so we're gonna keep moving along the shore here, and I will show you. So we took a look at some of the combat. I'd like to keep on moving. There's this whole little event here with the shell. But I'm gonna skip that for the sake of this video, and maybe I'll show it to you in another video. But what I do want to do is show you some of sort of how interacting with characters work. It's telling me, you know, it's all tutorial stuff. You can slightly adjust the camera. It is only ever so slightly. This is the furthest that I can move in either direction. So I can move the camera all the way this way, I can move the camera all the way this way, but no more than that. Okay, we've got exploration. There was also some font missing in what we discovered. That's exciting. Okay, so a couple things over here. We got a few more boxes that we can interact with. Got some stuff in here like an animal hide. Let's see what's in this thing. There's a couple rocks or something. Over here, nothing in there. There's also this gateway known as a waypoint. Once you have multiple of these discovered, this is basically the fast travel. So there's going to be, we're currently here at the start of the game. There'll be a list of all other waypoints that we discover as we make our way through, and then we can quickly travel from one to the other. Hopefully also they eventually add some sort of a portal animation into the center. I think that's much needed. Also something that's weird with the alpha, when I click on the shrine, the guy automatically walks to the back of it before before he activates it. Kind of weird, you know. Hey, it's alpha. Expect a lot of weirdness. That's just comes with the territory. All right, so let's take a look at how conversations can go in this game. So here we go. We've got a couple of people. Now, we're about to engage in a conversation with them. It can go one of two ways. I can play nice, or I can say, screw you guys, and fight them. That's that. That's basically how this works. So we're gonna walk up to these guys, and here we go. Most NPCs, oh, this is also telling me that we have an opportunity to trade with most NPCs. And that's true. These guys, they want to have a conversation that I can just halt the conversation and decide, let's barter. Now, I think that's actually kind of a weird system because especially when someone starts a conversation, I don't know that that should be available as an option. This guy wants to talk and I'm immediately like, let me sell you a seashell first. Yeah? Okay. Thanks. It's just kind of weird, but c'est la vie, it is what it is. All right, so Junius here is telling me to hold on, calling me an orc scum, and saying no one slips past the Legion unchallenged. Okay, that's kind of weird, because obviously I'm not an orc. And then his friend here, Bibius, tells him to calm down. All right, and then Junius says, hold your tongue, will you, Bibius? Can't be too careful, we are sworn to protect the town. Now, can I say a bunch of questions like, who are you? We are here on Source Hunter's business. Here are our orders. And then there's also for more questions. So I'm gonna tell him we're here on Source Hunter's business. And then he says, how are we supposed to verify that's true? We can't read, my friend. So for all we know, those people are saying you're a polymorph parrot on the lookout for a 2-bedroom birdcage. So his ignorance means that he can't trust us. Well, that, my friends, is why you need an education. And Junius says, you know what, we'll take you to the wizard. Is that TWO supposed to be on purpose because he's drunk? Or because he's stupid? Or maybe it's just an error. We'll take you to the wizard. I know he reads, has books, and all that stuff. Okay, so then I can say, this is the point where it diverges. I can say, oh, the wizard you say, sounds good, lead me the way. Or I can go, I don't need an escort, especially not a drunken one. Back off or face me. That sounds more entertaining for the video. So let's go ahead and do this. And now what will happen is I say that, and then there's a response. So if you're playing co-op, whenever you two are in the same area, if there's a point of potential disagreement, or when you're making a decision, the other player can say, no, I don't want to do that, I don't agree with you. And then you guys are butting heads, essentially. So I can say, are you mad you'd kill legionnaires just to go to the wizard peacefully? And then, or I could just agree with him and say, yes, face me too. So I'm gonna conflict here. I'm gonna say, are you crazy? What are you doing? And then there's a chance for a rebuttal in which I can say, pick a side. You know, so this whole conversation back and forth between the two characters. So what this allows for is if you're playing by yourself, it allows for RP, or all it does is if you want to make a decision, it forces you to also make the decision with the second character. So what I can say is, I'm gonna charm her and I'm gonna say, oh, come on, sweetie, you're gonna let these grunts order us around? And then, all right, let's see. And then I'm gonna intimidate. And then that's that. Okay. So now we're going into combat. So again, you have the decision and you have the ability to roleplay if you so want. Now there's a barrel right there. I'm not entirely sure, but I think this might put an oil slick on the ground. And so for that reason, I'm actually going to move and attack it. Okay, so it puts water on the ground. So what I can do is I think I can freeze them all now. Now this is gonna hurt my friend as well, but I'm gonna do it because I wanna see how this works with the water on the ground. Although they're not wet, so I'm not sure. Okay, oh my God. Okay, wait, they were because they were standing in the water. Now, that ended up killing my character as well as theirs. This game isn't balanced, obviously, as you can tell, because in the last two battles, it was just a one-shot, but that's actually really kind of funny. And then we can say, yeah, they deserved it. Yes, I agree. Okay, so now we become Heartless. You can see Heartless +1. So yes, this whole role-playing system within this game, which I find kind of funny. And entertaining at the very least. And those guys are dead, and there's their little corpses there. Or rather, their tombstones, if you will. A couple more boxes that we can interact with. It's also telling me how you're able to move things around, so I can actually, I'll show you that here. So you can pick this up and move it, but you can also change its direction. We can also, let me show you this here. We can also stack items like this. And then like, for example, if let me whip out my sword here. If I attack the crate on top will fall. I mean, it's kind of neat. I don't know that there's much use to any of that, but it does exist. All right, so there's another fight about to come up. Before we enter, I'm gonna go ahead and heal up because yes, I did kill my own character. That's actually the reason I like to control the wizard, because so many of her spells are area of effect. I like to be able to go in with her first so that I don't accidentally hit my warrior. So we're gonna move in first. Now this combat, you're not gonna see one-shot kills. These guys are a little bit tougher than the first few. So we're gonna go ahead and move forward. We've got ourselves 2 big orcs and then also a shaman there. So, all right, so he's going first. With him, I'm just gonna, how many action points? Okay, this uses 5 action points. So I'm gonna use, I don't know if going through her is gonna hurt her though. So I'm actually just gonna run up and attack this guy. That's what we're gonna do. Although, yeah, I don't have enough, so I'm just gonna move him. Yeah, we're just gonna move him closer right now. Looks like I don't have quite enough to get off an attack at that point. But now with her, so we can use the flare, we can use the fireball. I can use 2 flares, so I'm gonna use 2 flares. We're gonna do the first one here. And this is also the one with sound, which is nice. So there's the orc shaman, and actually can't do a second one. So with her, I'm gonna move her back a little bit further away from this orc in case he decides to go for her. All right, so now the other players' turns. We're gonna see some of these guards go, the legionnaires. They're gonna move, fight, and stuff like that. Or they'll just talk, because that's fun. And then the orcs get to go. So they're moving actually up towards my wizard, and now I get to decide, all right, so I'm gonna do this rush here. I'm gonna charge towards this guy. Ready? So I'm gonna do this charge, does a little bit of damage. And then unfortunately, I guess we don't have enough to do a basic attack, so then that happens. All right, so I can do the flare again. Or actually, no, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do teleportation. This allows me to pick a guy up and then drop him on the ground. Okay, so I should be able to do, there we go. So picks him up, drops him on the ground, does some damage. Wasn't enough to kill him, but that was pretty significant damage. And then with the remaining action points, I'm gonna run away. Again, combat feels a little lackluster at the moment, but I don't think that's because of the way the combat is, although it obviously needs a balancing tune. I think the combat feels okay, you can see a reaction attack there as the guy tried to move away. I think the combat at the moment, oh, that was the shaman healing the trooper. Is that what just happened? All right, so I need to kill the shaman. All right, let me just spin in place here. Yeah, that'll be fine. I can kill the trooper here. So you saw a reactionary attack as this guy tried to run away. I actually think that was very neat. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and attack with this. Should be enough to kill. There we go, wonderful. But the combat feels lackluster right now. Again, I don't believe, personally, I don't feel it's a result of the combat itself, but just the lack of sound, the lack of sound associated with actions, basically. All right, he's very low on health, so I'm gonna need to heal him again. Can heal him in combat like that, and then we're gonna be going over here for the shaman. But yeah, I believe that the fact that there are no sounds attached to a lot of these attacks are what make the combat just feel a little light and not very responsive. And that just goes to, that's a huge testament to, there's another reaction attack. That's a huge testament to how important audio is in video games. So once that stuff does get added, definitely come back to take another look at the combat. And I'll be sure to show you guys some more combat videos once that happens as well. Okay, so for her, let's do a single target attack with the flare. And attack this guy here. There we go, wonderful. Excellent, excellent. And that is the end of combat, fantastic. And we actually have levels up, level ups for our characters. There's some potions all around here, so we can pick those up. Oh, she got burning. Congratulations, why did you do that? Oh, this was a oil barrel. So this is the sort of thing I could have done. I could have knocked this oil barrel down and then had her ignited in fire, and you know, you can envision what would happen then. In fact, you don't even need to envision. Let me just show you here. Ready? So there's a bunch of oil, put it on fire, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of molten stuff on the ground. Really cool, I like that. All right, so there's some stuff over here I can pick up, but we're not gonna worry about that right now. I'm actually gonna move into town because I'd like to finish up the video by showing you some very cool, more elemental and environmental responsiveness. All right, here's the wizard. And he's telling us, yes, there you go. let's continue on your quest, etc., etc. All right, so I'd like to wrap up by showing you two things. The first of which is sort of the combination that we were talking about. So, what I can do, let me see if we have what it takes here. What does she have? I'd like her to... Right, so, town's freaking out because there's a burning ship going on. So, I guess we can deal with that first. Before we do, though, I'm gonna take some of these 9-inch nails, LOL reference. Okay, no one was around to see me. If someone was, they would say, thief, don't take that, it's not yours. Okay, so we're gonna go over here. There's a burning ship, the town's all freaking out. What can we do about a burning ship? Well, we could try the frost, so let's go ahead and try the wizard over here, and let's have her attempt to cast her frost spell, see if this does anything. Okay, so the frost spell didn't do anything, but if you remember at the very start of the video, I wasn't sure if it was going to, that's why I wanted to check first. At the very start of the video, we picked up this nice little spell. It is a rain scroll. So what we can do is we can then cast the rain scroll on the burning ship. Rain comes down, everything gets wet, and the ship stops burning. Very cool, huh? I really like that part of this game, and I hope it's something that they expand upon. Right now, it's just sort of, it's great in combat, but we've got this little thing at the start. Is it just a gimmick, though? Is there gonna be more of it? I mean, the characters know. They say, oh, great job, man. You saved the boat, congratulations, how exciting. And like all the town who was there to witness it now knows, and they can make comment on it when I ask them about the burning ship, or this guy just talks about it right away. So it's very cool. I hope it's something that they do a lot of throughout the campaign and everything. But the last thing I'd like to show you here is we talked about how you can combine things. There's a whole slew of combinations that are possible, but I can just show you a basic one. So we've got 9-inch nails, we've got a branch. Let's just drag one onto the other. Puts his hands together, whoop-de-doo-doo-doo, and then all of a sudden we have a branch with nails. So there's a whole bunch of different combinations you can do. I wonder if there's anything. I know that if you put like an orange in an empty, I think it's like either in an empty mug or a jar, it turns into orange juice, and there's like campfires that you can make. So there's just a whole bunch of different combinations, and I think it's rather neat. Now what if we put a rat's tail in a jar? That's not gonna do anything. What if we put this in a jar? What if we put this in a mug? None of that's working. But there are combinations that do work, just like you saw me do with the nails plus the piece of wood. I guess that's gonna do it here for this video, guys. Again, I just wanted to give you sort of a basic introduction to this game, show you some of the various systems. Now, once again, we have leveled up, and what that's gonna allow us to do is we've got points that we can spend in abilities. We also have one available talent point that we could spend. So I guess we can do that here. Let's do that for the warrior. So for the warrior, what are you doing? Switch this up here. So for the warrior, I'm gonna go single-handed. We've got a few points we can spend. And shield specialist, there we go. And then over here, oh, we wanna lock that in, like this. And then over here for talents, why don't I pick something like, yeah, let's pick gladiator. That's a good one to have. Oh, that's overall damage by 10%. I like that too. Okay, so yeah, you level up, you get these points, you spend them, improve your characters. Congratulations, how exciting. That's a basic introduction look here at Divinity Original Sin, currently in the alpha and available to Kickstarter backers. I don't know, I think it's really neat. I'm looking forward to seeing it develop through its alpha. I'm looking forward to it eventually getting more sounds for combat. I think that's gonna make a big difference for you guys, especially as viewers. And once that happens, we'll go ahead and take an updated look at the game. Thanks so much for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. Stay tuned for more great gaming coverage here on the channel. Keep watching and keep owning. Oh, here's the Waypoint Shrine. I can go back over there if I want to. There we go. Ah, yes. The shell. Look, look, a wanderer comes my way, walking the sands upon which this poor shell must suffer. Who are you, Sir Shell? Call me Ishamashel, son of the sea, an outcast upon these wretched shores, an exiled shell doomed to live under a canopy of arid sky, not his native, tender water. You say you were doomed. My fate is a cruel one, I assure you. How many snot-noses have held me up against their dirty little ears only to claim they hear the ocean? Of course they hear her, the brats! We're on the very edge of the great aquatic mother whose embrace I so desperately long for. So it's the sea's embrace you long for. Yes, yes. King of Pearls, ache to repose anew on this coral throne. Hurl me towards the water, swing me as far as your arm's strength gives release, and treasure long sunk I will grant thee. Well, actually, that sounds good to me. Let's change the subject. Let's decide what we're gonna do. And I will throw you into the sea. There you go. Into the sea you go. Congratulations. Now, where's my treasure? Seriously, where's my treasure? Aha! Yes. 9 gold, that's it. Oh